Alright people, welcome back to the Kaiba Show, and we're going to switch gears a little bit this week. Unless you've been living under a rock, you heard about the Oscar nominations, and there's one movie that I want to talk about in particular, because I was actually shocked that the amount of nominations it got, and that is, yes people, Black Panther has got nominated for 7 Oscars, and I wanted to talk a little bit about that, so let's get it.
Welcome to the Kaiba Show.
Alright people, so you already know the Oscar nominations came out, and like I said before, Black Panther got nominated for 7 categories. That's right, it got nominated for 7 categories, which is actually shocking because most comic book movies, they only get nominated for like 1 or 2 things, and it's usually like visual effects. They might get a Oscar nod for costumes or like sound mixing or something. But Black Panther managed to get nominated for 7 categories, and 4 of them I really want to talk about. The other 3 categories, they're good, but I don't really want to touch too much on it. It's like sound mixing and sound editing or whatever. But the other 4 categories really stood out for me because, like I said, usually comic book movies don't get nominated, and when they do, it's usually for like visual effects or whatever. So the 4 categories that I want to talk about that Black Panther got nominated for is: 1, it got nominated for original score, original song, best picture, and costume design. And those are the 4 categories that I want to talk about. So the first one is going to be original score. Your boy Ludwig, the composer for the score of this movie, he really did an awesome job. I like how he incorporated the traditional symphony type orchestra instruments. You already know the violins and the cellos and the violas and stuff like that, and he took that along with the African beats, the drums and the melodies, and he incorporated it too. And the score was just really awesome. You know, you got songs like the Ancestral Plane and the Killmonger song. Those were like really awesome songs, or scores I should say, for the movie. And I'm really happy that he got nominated, and I hope he takes it home for the culture. So the next category is original song by Kendrick Lamar and SZA, All the Stars. And I felt like this was awesome that Kendrick got nominated for it because, one, if I'm not mistaken, he was the producer for the whole soundtrack. Like, he was in charge of producing the Black Panther soundtrack. So for one of his songs on the soundtrack to get nominated was awesome. Him and SZA, that song is phenomenal. It has that nice little upbeat party vibe to it. Like, you could really zone out and have a good time to that song. So I felt like that was awesome that they got nominated for that. And the next category I wanted to talk about was the costume design. The costume design was well done in this movie. I like how when you're watching a movie, how certain tribes in the Wakanda kingdom, certain tribes had like traditional looking African garments on, but they also showed the Afro-futuristic garments in the costumes. So the costume designs for the movie was just really thought out and made. And some of the outfits, even with T'Challa, some of the outfits were like awesome. Like, I could see myself wearing them around the house. Some of the garments that he has, like his little slippers that Shuri made fun of, I could see me wearing them, you know. So some of the garments in the movie was really awesome. I like the design behind it, and I'm not really shocked that this movie got nominated for the costume designs. It was well designed, I should say. And the next category I wanted to touch base on was best picture. Like, when have we ever heard within the last 20 years, since, you know, these superhero movies have really taken off, that a superhero movie is getting nominated for best picture? So that's really saying something big, that this movie touched home for a lot of people. You know, there was the hidden messages in the movie, you know, that they was trying to get across. You know, if you haven't seen the movie, you have to go see it. I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but, you know, in the movie, they're letting you know, like, hey, look, we could work as one. We don't need to be off on here in this side of the world, keeping all the advances and the technologies to ourselves, while this other person wants to take over and just wipe out everybody. Hey, listen, we're all humans. We could come together and, you know, love one another, help one another, you know, teach one another. So this movie had like an awesome message behind it that I think especially what's going on right now around the world. Everybody needs to sit down and watch this movie and take back and listen to what I think the director, the writers, everybody was trying to get across to people. And this is like a real big situation that we have a Marvel comic book movie that has a black superhero in it that a lot of people like myself didn't really have a whole lot of black superheroes growing up to look up to. So this is awesome for the culture that this movie is getting nominated for Best Picture. That's like, I can't even speak on how happy I am that this movie is getting nominated for Best Picture. Like, there's so many other good movies in this category. So for the Academy to recognize the craftsmanship that went behind this movie and to give this movie a shot at, you know, taking home the gold for this, like, you don't even understand how much this means for the comic book world, the African American people, black people around this world. This is phenomenal. This is big. This is huge that this movie's getting nominated for Best Picture. And that's pretty much what I wanted to talk about this week, switching it up a little bit because I'm excited. I can't wait for the Oscars. And I just hope at least out of the 7 categories, Black Panther takes home at least 2 or 3, especially for Best Picture. I wouldn't want to see this movie not take home something. So if you like what you see and you want to see more, please hit the subscribe button. After hitting the subscribe button, hit the bell button so you get notified every time I upload a video. And leave a comment, hit the like button. And as usual, Wakanda forever. And I'm out.